Chain smoke your problems away. Smokepit Fairy Tales, Part 4, Chapter 10, Comic Ants. Thatch woke up the next morning with a splitting headache and a dry throat. He slapped his arm over his nightstand looking for anything that had water in it. His cup was empty, so he haphazardly tossed it across the room. His hydration bottle met the same fate. He rolled over and slid his feet off the bed. He put a bowl of preheated rice in the microwave and went to take a piss. When the rice was hot, he cracked a raw egg into it and drowned it in hot sauce. He spooned the concoction into his mouth and stared at the wall. When he was done, he dropped the bowl into the sink, then put his lips in the faucet, drinking until he felt like he would puke. He went and laid in the shower with cold water beating on him until he felt better about his life. He dried off, brushed his hair and teeth, threw on a black jinbei and a pair of jeans, and walked outside to smoke. He bitched at the sun and how bright it shined on Camp Castle. He thought about how far away from the center of the solar system that Mars was and wondered how people ever survived on Earth. As he flicked the ash off of his half-smoked cigarette, he saw the brunette angel he met before deployment walking by.
Hey, Samum.
She stopped and looked at him for a second before it clicked in her head who he was.
Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while.
Thatch blinked rapidly for a moment, trying to get the dryness out of his eyes.
Not bad, just got back from the sea.
How was that?
Spent most of it staring at the steel walls on a ship.
He took a drag.
But I got a lot of reading done.
Samum nodded. She was wearing tight jeans and a red faux leather jacket. Her long brown hair swirled down over her shoulders to her back.
You know, I always wondered why they called it sea. You guys don't actually go out on the ocean.
Probably the same reason the Navy does anything.
Lack of common sense?
I was going to say tradition, but that's about the same thing. So what are you doing today?
The wheels in Samum's head turned looking for an answer.
Going home for the weekend. But that's not for a few hours. I'm free until then.
Going on leave?
No, I'm from Victoryville. It's like 2 hours away from here.
They didn't send you far, did they?
No, I was trying to get orders to Camp Southern Cross, but they sent me to Consol instead.
That's a crying shame.
Huh?
Thatch shook her off.
Well, if you're not leaving for a couple hours, do you want to go check out this comic book store with me?
Samum held her mouth open and licked the inside of her bottom lip while she tried to make up her mind until she let out a slow,
"Yeah, sure, why not? When do you want to go?"
Thatch checked his watch.
I'm thinking like...
Thatch remembered that his watch was dead, so he checked his phone.
Maybe an hour? I can come pick you up here.
Sounds good. Do you still have my number?
I do.
Just shoot me a text then.
Thatch smiled at the woman who reminded him of paintings of Venus as she turned to walk away. She seemed to have put on a few pounds since the last time he saw her, but she carried it well. He didn't realize last time they met how firm and toned her backside was. Each one of Samum's cheeks was bigger than her head and shaped like a sculpture of a Grecian goddess. She had an hourglass figure and thick, strong legs. Thatch went back to his room, tied up a better set of shoes, filled his hydration bottle with water, and walked down to the vehicle storage garage. A couple hours later, Samum walked out of her barracks. Thatch had sent her a text saying he'd be there in a few minutes. At the end of the sidewalk by the parking lot, Thatch leaned up on the fender of a Mako sloop. It was short. The top only came up to Thatch's elbows. The paint was an even fade of deep ocean blue on the top, to a light gray on the bottom. It had a pointed nose, 6 taillights, and pop-up headlights. The rear window was vented into 6 horizontal slits in the back of the cab. It had fat tires, round side pipes, and sharp, exaggerated fenders. It almost reminded her of a manta ray.
Nice car.
She smiled at Thatch.
Yeah, thanks.
He flicked his cigarette to the dust and went to open the door for her.
It's stick, right?
She asked, almost snidely.
What's the point of having a car like this if you're gonna pussyfoot around with an automatic?
Samum smirked.
I like that answer. Do you want to grab some tea before we head out?
Thatch unlocked the doors.
Sure. Anywhere specific?
We can go to the place around the corner.
Samum sat down in the car. The seat ended up being a lot closer to the ground than she had thought it was going to be. She looked to the dashboard. Imitation wood lined the dash behind the instruments. The gauges were all separate and lined with chrome. Thatch started the engine and the motor hummed like a blubbering demon. The car shook and rocked from the pistons. Thatch put the car in gear and pressed the gas. It didn't move as quickly as Samum would have thought it would. Thatch putted it down the corner to the coffee shop. Samum got a green tea and Thatch and Arnold Palmer. They smoked a cigarette before they got back into the car. Thatch handed Samum the auxiliary cord, asking her to DJ. She pulled out her phone and started searching for music. Thatch started the sloop and moseyed her down to the front gate. So far, Samum was unimpressed with the vehicle's performance. They turned the corner out of sight of the MP post at the gate. Thatch dropped it from third gear to first and punched the accelerator. Samum was shot full force back into her seat. The engine screamed and Samum almost dropped her tea. She smiled at Thatch and flipped through the music on her phone until she found an old song her mom used to listen to.
Is this from the 80s?
Yeah!
She started to sing along with the lyrics until Thatch changed gears and she was jolted back again. They rode for a few miles before she asked,
So, where are you going again?
This comic book shop down on the other side of town.
Thatch took his eyes off the road to look at Samum.
I haven't ever been, but I found it on the internet, wanted to go.
Samum nodded her head and went back to the music.
So, is this thing hydrogen?
Ethanol.
Thatch changed gears again and they burned down the road. There wasn't much traffic. Thatch weaved around what little there was. Samum was a little nervous because the road didn't have a fence, and she thought about when she accidentally hit the sand with her car and flipped it.
Can I have another cigarette?
Thatch reached into the pocket of the bottom of his shirt, producing a pack of smokes and a flip-top lighter. Samum lit the cigarette and inhaled.
You know, my dad would love this car.
Oh yeah?
Totally. He's all about this kind of thing. He'll probably ask you where you've been all my life.
Thatch pulled the sloop around the corner of the main road and parked it in the dirt off the side of the road behind a small strip mall.
All that for some guy he met hanging out with his daughter.
They stepped out of the car and walked up the plankway towards the shops. Samum bobbed her head.
Well, he's not my real dad. But he's my younger brother and sister's father, and he's been married to my mom for forever, so that's close enough.
Thatch grabbed the fake wooden handle and held the door open for Samum. The shop was small but full. A few printed books sat on shelves by the right wall, surrounded by t-shirts and memorabilia. Samum picked up one of the comics and flipped through the pages.
Does anyone still read on paper anymore?
I do.
People who only read media electronically didn't offend Thatch, but he did think it was for lowbrow plebes. He assumed he picked up that trait from his ma, but never thought too hard about it.
Really? But it's so much easier to have your whole library in one spot instead of lugging heavy-ass books around everywhere.
Yeah, but if I'm on ship or in the field, I have to worry about dead batteries or electronic signatures or light.
I guess.
Plus, there's just something about holding a book in your hands.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one.
They flipped through the books, the shirts, and the knickknacks. Some of the themes were a bit obscure, but Thatch and Samum figured that they were from characters older than life on Mars.
So, do you want to stick around and meet my dad?
Samum asked as she looked at the posters displayed on the wall above the music rack. Thatch was slightly confused.
What?
My dad's coming here to pick me up for the weekend.
Thatch gave her a bewildered look.
And why would your dad be coming to pick you up all the way out from here?
Because I usually go home for the weekends and I totaled my car a couple months ago.
Thatch reared his head back.
Oh, shit. What happened?
I took it off into the sand on accident.
Samum fluttered up her hand like she was warding off an evil spirit.
No big deal.
She paused for a moment while she looked at what was for sale.
Anyway, yeah, he's coming up here to pick me up. Want to meet him?
Anxiety built up in Thatch's spine in the form of hundreds of invisible ants marching around in his body. He liked Samum, but he didn't know if he liked her enough to meet her father the first time they went out. He ran through the possible scenarios in his head. He thought that it shouldn't be weird. Samum and him were just hanging out.
But then what would happen if we started getting involved?
Thatch probably wouldn't have had an issue with the ordeal if he didn't consider the possibility of the afternoon being a date.
She probably doesn't think this is a date.
Thatch's psyche formed fists and started beating his brain, as the ants rallied together and boiled in his guts.
There's got to be some way out of this. When's he supposed to get here?
Maybe an hour.
Thatch faked a wince.
I have an appointment. I gotta get my oil changed.
He lied. Samum's lips hung open, and a confused look took over her eyes.
Then why are we out right now if you have errands?
I didn't think we'd be out that long.
Thatch tried to play it cool. Samum gave her head a quick tilt.
It's no biggie. I can wait here for him.
Thatch began to reconsider it. He didn't know why he was that anxious to begin with, but now he had to leave. He already told her he had other plans.
Well, do you want to grab something from the diner and wait? I'm not leaving like right now.
Yeah. We can grab coffee or something small.
Alright, what are we doing today? Oh shit, 1,000 followers on YouTube. Thanks, peeps. Starting to pick up a little bit here. I was a little bit nervous as we were inching up towards that because the first channel that I was doing this on, we were inching up towards 1,000 followers, and then YouTube nuked my channel. I didn't have any strikes, they didn't give me any warning, they didn't tell me what was up, just like poof, gone, bye. I think we were about a little bit more than halfway through the first book when that happened. You know, the first time I was about to get 1,000 followers, when at that point the page was 2 months old. Good times. Moving forward. Anyway, I got some updates for you. I don't know if I've told you, but I am done writing my 13th novel. I'm typing it up now because, you know, I hand jam all these things. This is about a third of it. Anyway, my plan coming up in the next few weeks is get up on Monday and edit an audiobook chapter and then type the rest of the week. And then when book 13 is typed, I'm gonna send it out to my beta readers, you know, you give it to the editor, you know, you do the fine tooth comb thing. And then I'm gonna start editing the scripts for, I'm thinking I'm gonna do Smokepit Fairy Tales 5 and 6 at the same time. You know, like casting wise, because I think 5 and 6 together are both shorter than 4 is. That way I'm not like getting it together and then turning right around and going, hey guys, I know you just got done, but I need you to do this. But yeah, I wanna start working on that as soon as I get done with Smokepit Fairy Tales 4. Because the book we're on now, Chainsaw Your Problems Away, that is 39 chapters. We're on chapter 25 now. We're on chapter 25, yes. Yeah, 25 chapters have been edited. But I want to be able to roll straight into book 5 as soon as I get done with 4. But yeah, chapter 25 is done, and it is up on Patreon. And they get those chapters as soon as I get done with them. You know, unlike I haven't had all my coffee yet. Sorry, there's going to do some brain farts. Excuse me. Unlike the scheduled releases here on YouTube. So thank you, Patreon people. And also thank you people who have gotten the War Chest, which is the box set of these books. Also, if you don't want to wait for me to read these books to you, you can just go read them. And thank you to people who have, physically gotten the books. Thank you for the YouTube members. That's a new thing. And thank you for just, watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that fun stuff that I have to say because it's a YouTube video. And if I don't say like, comment, and subscribe, the YouTube police shoot my dog. You don't want that. But yeah, if you don't want to wait for them to pop out here once a week, I put them on Patreon as soon as I get done with them, and you can't just go read the books. And if you have, please leave them reviews on Amazon. Those help. Moving forward. Earlier, I talked about a Comic-Con coming up in November that I was planning on attending. Now, while I might still go, I'm not going to get a table this time. I'm going to go ahead and call that one off. I did not get the cash together for that I would need to, set up a table properly. Which, it's kind of a bummer, but, shit happens. Maybe next summer. Hopefully YouTube's going to start paying me here a little bit soon. Get that ad money. I mean, I don't think it's a lot, but, something's better than nothing. And hopefully by the time next summer rolls around, I can use that money for that, fit that in the budget. Because, the table's, so much money, but actually I don't think a table was really that bad. I think the reserve table, that was like $200. But then I have to go buy a table, which I don't really think those are that expensive. But I have to set up that little PayPal swipe credit card thing, which I don't think really that's all that much either. But when you put it together, it starts to add up. I did get a bunch of prints and stickers and postcards and stuff made. That has been available on my site to help out with this. But I was going to save, the actual books, to sign and sell for last because, I have to go buy all those. And I did the math on like what you should bring to a con for that. And I did not get the extra grand I needed to throw that around this summer. But hey, you know what? Next summer. Wait, not this summer, next summer. This fall, next summer. Didn't have the extra grand for it this fall. Shoot for next summer. Hopefully that ad money starts coming in. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure out if the YouTube algorithm actually likes my face or not. And while I do miss talking to you guys, I guess the shorts kind of help out with that. So what I think I'm going to do is do a, sit down and talk to you at the end of every video every other week. And, you'll still get your bloopers and all either way. But then like one week you'll have me talking to you, the next week you won't. But that way, so I can stay up to date on things, I can put 2 videos up at the same time and people that are YouTube members and get early access to the videos as soon as I upload them, without having to wait for the actual release date. That way I can get them 2 at a time, instead of having to have them wait until Wednesdays at 6. But yeah, that's where we're at. All right, so thanks for listening to another chapter. Thanks to Chuck LaVoki for narrating this and Hollis Joe McCollum for playing Samum. She played Chanceworth and then Satin and then a few other random characters in the 3rd book. I've also done a couple lives with her if you want to get to know a little bit more about her. She's really fun. I'm excited for you to hear a lot of what else is going to happen with her in this book. Also, if you've read these books, please no spoilers in the comments. I appreciate that. But also, she is one of my writer friends, and if you want a high fantasy that's still kind of like a D&D fever dream, I would go check out her Rashawn series. I've been following her for a while. Like, I love To Save a World and The Queen Witch, although you can't get this cover anymore. She changed it a long time ago to match this one, and I think that she changed them again more recently, but whatever. The guts are the same. Actually, the guts aren't the same. The text is the same. She went and added images and stuff to them. So go check out Hollis. All right. Well, anyway, hey, here's your bloopers. Ciao.
All right. I can't read. Test. Good morning, Smokepit Fairy Tales. I've got a history of violent stories that never fails. Samum held her mouth open and licked the inside of her bottom lip, which she tried to make up. Try that again. Thatch smiled at the woman who reminded him of paintings of Venus. It was plural. What's her name again? Shit. Samum. Thatch putted it down the corner to the coffee shop. Okay. Putted it. It's putted it. Put it. Got it. All right. Okay, got it. Yeah. Got it. All right, sweet. It's not a word I don't know if I've ever read that. Samum got a green tea. I'm gonna read that again. Everything after Samum's lips just goes to shit!
Okay. All right, this is Hollis reading for Samum. This is Chapter 10, Comic Ants, first recording thing. This is Hollis reading for Samum, Chapter 10, Comic Ants, and this should be the second take. Or the second, you know what I mean. Anyway. Samum walked into her barracks.